Hey there, today I'm going to go over how to edit and upload a podcast interview and video from start to finish outside of recording that actual episode. So I record in Zoom, and this is because it's going to give me audio and video. That way I can use it as a video on YouTube. I can put parts of it on social media if I want to. So a lot of flexibility if you do it this way. So first, I would just click here to download these files. I actually just downloaded it before I started recording, but that's really all you're going to do. So now I'm going to open iMovie, and the first thing I would do is just start a new project. So now I'm going to pull my video in, and I'm going to put it on the timeline. So the first thing that I like to do is go ahead and just trim it from start to back, or from, the front and the end, trim those pieces off. So I always have a little conversation, usually before and after the actual podcast episode begins. And so what I want to do is just make sure that that's not in the episode. So let's see where we are.
When the internet and
Okay, so I think this is right about where we are. Mr. Ryan. Alrighty, okay, we will get started. All right, so I'm just gonna clip right here. I go to modify and split clip. That's gonna be the process if you're in iMovie, and then I'm just gonna delete that. Now I'm gonna do the same thing, but at the back.
thank you.
Thanks. Well, look at that. I hit it right on the nose. So I am going to do the exact same thing. Modify, split clip. I'm gonna click here and delete it. So now I have my 37-minute podcast interview. So there's a couple of things I can do. First, I'm going to go to File and Share, and I'm going to select to export this as a file for audio only. And I'm just going to call this Ryan Dice interview. I'm going to go next, and I'm going to save it to my desktop. So it's going to start that process. Then I also want to get this video ready for YouTube. So I will go to my media, and maybe it's in my library. So I've got an intro clip and an outro clip that I can add to my videos. They're already in my library. So I'm just going to select the intro. I'm going to go to transitions. Cross dissolve is usually a good one, and I'm going to do the same thing right at the end. So it's a good idea for the most part if you could leave about a second on the front and on the back when you are doing these, because then it doesn't necessarily run over into that transition. Sometimes it's fine if it does kind of blend together, but if you want to make sure that it's very clean and that doesn't happen, then you will want to leave a little bit of extra space. So now I'm just going to quickly check it out, make sure it sounds good. Hello everybody, welcome, and I am super... All right, so that one's good. Now we'll check the ending real quick. You guys are going to continue to, really change the world one marketer at a time.
It's a joy and a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. There we go. And I just got a notification that my audio is completed. So audio is very, very simple to export. It takes no time at all. So if you're ever concerned that your files are too big, if you're trying to use a video file, all you need is that audio for the podcast. So I'm now going to export this as a YouTube video. So there's a couple of things that I could do. One of them is to just export the file and then upload it directly in to YouTube. Well, then that's an entire extra step, because for the most part, the only reason I need the file is to upload to YouTube. If I were to ever need this again, I can download it from YouTube, and I'm not going to get rid of that original file. It's still going to live in my iMovie. So even if my YouTube channel was somehow shut down, I'm still going to have that somewhere else. And then I'm also going to have the audio version in the podcast. So if you're really concerned about losing something like this, you could always put it on a hard drive. But in terms of speed of just getting something uploaded, then just uploading it to YouTube is ideal. So I'm going to call this So that's really what we discussed. So that's easy for me to do. I'm going to write a quick description. I honestly am not going to think too much about it. I want to make sure that I have the best possible category, which is really just going to be education. And now I will write that description. All right, so that is what I'm going to say. I'm going to hit publish. And there's a couple of things that I'm going to do when it gets into YouTube. One of them will be uploading a custom thumbnail. So quickly, while this is exporting, we're going to go and edit that thumbnail. So I'm going to hop over to Canva. I have a template that I've created that I'm going to use. So the first thing I'll do is go to my podcast folder, and I'm going to grab a couple of things. First, I'm going to get our YouTube thumbnail. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and do these other graphics. So they're all ultimately the same. They're going to use the exact same things. So I want to make sure that they are good to go. So for most people, if they don't send us a headshot directly, we can just grab one off of the internet. And I am just going to grab this photo right here. Ryan Deiss is building $1 billion media empire, and that is the truth. So now I'm going to hop over to my podcast folder. We're going to add that photo right in there. Now that I have it in, I can then go back to the podcast folder to see this photo. So I am going to scroll down if this is the right. Nope, this is not the one I need. So I'm just going to X out of that. I'm going to go to the folder again, click on the podcast designs. I'm just going to switch out the image of my guest. And then I also may switch out the image of myself. So before I do that, I also made a couple of new podcast thumbnails with really large text to test out and see which ones I like better, because I was thinking my titles looked a little bit small. So I'm going to attempt to try that out as well. Now I'm just going to go to the images of me and I'm going to just select one, throw it in there. All right, and we are going to call this, the 5 steps to building a local marketing strategy. I'm just going to finagle this a little bit. And then I'm just going to see if I can make it a little bit bigger so that it fits within the other template I made. I'm going to move this around a little bit and we'll just call it with. Then I'm going to go to the left. Okay, so this one is just fine. I don't know if I'll use it or not, but I do know that I have the option. So this is number 16. We're going to keep that in mind. Alrighty, then I'm going to go back up and do this the way I was normally going to do it. So I think I'll just try making this a little bit bigger as well. And seeing if I can get away with making this a little bit bigger. And normally you don't have to do all this. I am just trying to find a template that I really like. And that looks great and that I can use long term. So I want to make sure it's not too cramped. So we'll just go back up to 0, but I'll do maybe 43. So that's a little bit better and I like it. So I am just gonna go with that for now. So we've got number 4 and number 16 right here. I'll click number 4, I'll click number 16, download that. While I'm waiting, I can hop over here and do the exact same thing. So I'll duplicate it, go back over to my folders, drag it in, move it a little bit. Okay, and might try and beef this up a tad. Alrighty. Now I've got number 3. Got that one done. I can click out of this one. That one's done. I'll click out of that one. Then I will quickly try and do this. This is going to be for the guest to potentially use as a story. And I definitely know that I've got a much better chance of getting them to promote it if I can just provide them with a few things that requires them to do less. So we're going to say the 5 steps to building a local marketing strategy. I'm going to just this a tad. Okay, that looks pretty good. Download number 4. And then finally, I am going to, I believe, nope, that's the wrong one again. Goodness gracious. Maybe it's this one. Nope. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hop back over to all my designs and find where that design actually is. It's right here, and I will move that into the right folder when I'm done. So this one is actually for myself, for my stories. So I will just repeat that process a couple of different times. It's super easy. And then because it's a little bit longer, which this is usually a good idea if you are just going to try and find that title that's a similar length, but all you have to do is just move things down. If you keep the spacing similar, then everything should remain pretty similar. So now I'm also going to download number 2. And then I will put all of those that I plan on using when the episode actually comes out into a folder so that it's easy for someone else to go ahead and send out to the guest or upload whenever we schedule our social media. So that is the process of getting the graphics prepared, having those actual graphic templates already made is crucial. So I am going to open YouTube, and then I'm also going to open Alitu. So Alitu is the platform that we're using just to do quick edits and push it to the host. So in theory, we could do this ourselves, but this is what we're using and it's totally fine. So we are going to call it the same thing. I think this is going to be episode 7. So my description, I am just going to go back to YouTube. I need to switch accounts real quick. And then I'm just going to grab the description that I already wrote because that's just going to save a little bit of time. I'm going to go to YouTube Studio. And videos. And this may not be uploaded just yet. So it looks like it's still got a little bit of time. What I'm going to do when I'm ready is I'm going to go to the video that will be uploaded, and I'm actually going to hit the edit button, and I will have my description, but what I won't have is a good thumbnail. I'll just have something that looks like this. So I'm going to just click this button that says custom thumbnail. I'm going to add the one that I just created, make sure it's going in the right playlist, and that everything else looks good. Once I do that, I can, have an awesome video that I put out in my membership site or anywhere else that I would like to publish that. So that's going to be that process. Go ahead and click out of this. Unfortunately, I don't know if I can get that description. I really wish I could, but it's not a big deal. I'm just going to go ahead and type it again. We'll just say I will go ahead and hit Save Details. Now I'm going to click Get That Audio that I opened or that I saved on my desktop, and I'm going to hit Upload. This is going to upload in just a couple of minutes, and when that happens, I'm going to be able to add a few other pieces of audio that will make this episode complete. Some of those things are going to be an intro, an outro, and maybe even a little ad segment. So we'll see what that will look like as soon as this thing gets uploaded, and then we're going to push it to the podcast host. So we're finalizing. We should be good to go in just a moment. I'll check on that audio in YouTube while we wait, see if that's ready. Could check here. So it's looking like we still have some time on this, so we won't worry about that. Okay, now that we've got this uploaded, I am just going to click on Add My Music. I've already got this in my library, so I am going to hop over to my intro. I'm going to add my outro. And that should be all that I need. If I want to add something later, I can, which may be a little advertisement or something right in here. But I think I'm probably good to go. My episode details are already in there. So now I can hit Export Episode. And it's just going to create that episode right here on my episodes page. So whenever that episode is ready to be pushed to our podcast host, we're just going to go here and we're going to click Publish to Libsyn. We can say we want it to go live right now, or we can say that we want it to go live at a later date and just leave it as a draft. Whichever one you want to do is totally fine and up to you. But that is really all of the steps that you need to do. Once you publish it to Libsyn, it's going to go into your drafts or it's going to publish. So that really is the entire process. Outside of uploading that thumbnail to YouTube, which takes probably a total of 60 seconds, once the video is completed and fully uploaded, we've just edited, uploaded an entire podcast episode and YouTube video in just about 20 minutes. So I think that's pretty impressive. It's really not that difficult, and I'm super excited to be able to share this with you. So hopefully you're able to take some of this and put it to good use. So thanks so much, and I appreciate you watching.